Before you decide to have a stove installed, you'll need to check with your local authority to see if you live in a smoke control area. If you do, you'll need a DEFRA approved stove, and your installer will be able to advise you on which one will be suitable. First of all, you need to decide what kind of stove best suits your situation. Are you after a wood burner or a multi-fuel stove? What do you want your stove to do? Do you want to light the stove for a few hours, or do you want the stove burning for longer periods? Basically, a wood burning stove will just burn wood, and many of them aren't designed to keep the stove going throughout the night. However, they are generally easier to look after and only require cleaning out every so often. A multi-fuel stove has a grate and ash pan and will burn wood and solid fuel. This kind of stove will keep burning for long periods but does need cleaning out every day. Every appliance have air controls which help control the burning of the fuel. Some stoves have one basic control, while other stoves can have several. Another thing to think about is how your stove is going to be installed. Have you got an existing chimney, or are you installing a new twin wall system? If so, is this going from the stove to the roof, or up and out through a wall? How high is it to the terminal? Are you installing into an existing chimney breast? And if so, is the chimney suitable, and when was it last cleaned? These are just a few things you need to consider and ask about before buying a stove. How you fit your stove affects the running of the appliance. Stoves are now very efficient, but if it's not installed correctly, then the stove will not perform to its best. For any appliance to work to its best ability, the correct fuel is essential. If you have a wood burner, you will need to prepare the wood. Basically, this means storing logs outside so they become dry and ready to burn. However, you can buy ready-to-burn logs. Hardwoods are generally better for burning than softwoods, as they are heavier and therefore will provide you with much more heat output. We would recommend getting advice on the right type of wood for your stove, and a good website for this is www.which.co.uk. If you have a multi-fuel stove, it's always best to use smokeless coal rather than house coal. House coal burns considerably hotter, and many stoves are not designed for this heat or the amount of smoke produced when first lit. Open the door of your stove and put in some dry sticks and a fire lighter, and then light the fire lighter with a long match. Once the kindling is burning well, add your logs, making sure they're not placed too near the glass. It's important to remember to keep the door slightly open and the vents open to make sure the fire gets the air supply it needs to establish properly. If the vents aren't open enough, the stove will be starved of air and the glass will become smoky and black. Leave them to burn for a while and then put on more logs, and if you have a multi-fuel stove, you can also add your coal. If you're struggling to get your stove lit, there may be a number of reasons which could include wet fuel, not enough air supply. It may be wet or damp outside. The chimney may be full of soot, or there's not enough kindling to take a flame. The other major cause to consider is poor installation of the appliance, so for example, the flue may not be high enough, or there may be too many bends in the system. Servicing and looking after your stove is vital to make sure your stove is working efficiently and to its best ability. You must have your chimney swept on a regular basis, at least once a year, but this will depend on the fuel you use and how often you use the stove. It's a good idea to sometimes check the condition of all rope seals, fire bricks and the glass, and replace or clean as required. There's a wide selection of products to help maintain and clean your stove. Also, when you've finished using the stove in the winter, it may be worth getting the chimney cleaned and leave all vents open and just relight when required again. It's vital to make sure anyone installing a stove of any kind or anyone cleaning your chimney are HETUS registered. HETUS is the governing body for solid fuel products, and on their website they have a list of registered installers for your area, and also a list of local certified chimney sweeps from the National Association of Chimney Sweeps and the Guild of Master Chimney Sweeps.